All right, we are live. We're live.
Go. Hey, I am Owen King. I'm a writer. I'm the co-author of Self-Help, among other things, and I am with you tonight on Splash Pages.
Woo!
So the only thing left to say, of course, is the one obvious thing. Hey, stop it!
What's wrong with him?
His girl just broke it off.
It's her father. He doesn't want her dating a zombie.
Why? What are they, demons?
She is predeceased.
An outsider?
Man, you're asking for trouble.
She broke my heart.
You're a zombie. Technically, you don't even have a heart.
After all of the great cinema that we brought to the world, and we still get no respect.
I don't know why he doesn't like me. I'm responsible. A full-time job.
You work at a haunted house in October.
I'm trying to be healthy. She's a vegan, so...
Wait, you're giving up meat?
Oh, come on.
What are you gonna do? Attack a farmer's market to try to impress her?
Now, if he was a vampire, you'd have a much better chance with her death.
Yeah, those pretty bastards.
I didn't think this would be that hard.
Hard. Man, I'm a zombie and I'm black.
Here we go.
I blame the educational system.
I blame the media.
I blame George Romero.
Oh. How could you be so disrespectful?
Coffee?
Zombies don't know much, but they do know good coffee. Deadly Grounds. It's coffee to die for, and zombie approved.
Who's George Romero?
Just have some coffee.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Oh, damn it. Okay, Leo's gonna go make some biscuits while his toes are beans. I'll be taking over for tonight. Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. We have got an awesome show going tonight. I'm super excited about it. Ratatosker's super excited about it. He's getting his drink on because he can't control himself. But we're so excited to have you here. And before we get to our guest, I want to show you we have a couple of extra guest hosts tonight. So let's go over and see how MJ is doing.
Hello. Hi guys, good to be back. Good to see everybody. It's really good to be back, and I'm really looking forward to tonight's show.
All right. And Steve, how are you doing?
Steve.
Courtney. Just
Hey guys, how's it going? Well, I mean, you asked, so doing great, guys. Welcome to Tuesday night. It is Tuesday, you said, right? I know.
Yeah.
Everything's a blur at this point. Happy to be here, though. Happy to be here.
All right, Jar.
This reminded me of Joe St. Pierre. He likes to say hi to everybody with his little.
I taught him that.
Oh, that's where it came from.
He'll say, "I don't know that person," but he's
he's a world famous artist. I mean, you should know him. Anyways, I'm sure he'll enjoy that compliment. Yeah, tonight is going to be fantastic. We should get over to Drew so we can get on with it, since there is so many of us.
Yes.
Oh yeah, guys, just let me know when the show's starting, okay?
It's a Hunter S. Mollo over here.
Oh. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us at Splash Pages. We appreciate you taking the time this Tuesday night, the first Tuesday of March. We appreciate that. And now, with further ado, we introduce our guest. He's a fantastic writer, an absolutely delight of a person. And we know because we spent quite a bit of time with him at last year's Terrificon. Yes. And it was absolutely lovely. He is a writer. He is a comic book editor and creator. You've seen his work. If you haven't, you should definitely check it out. Intro to Alien Invasion. His book, Self-Help. The graphic novel adaptation of the book that he did with his father, Stephen King, Sleeping Beauties, and a bunch more. But why hear it from me when you can hear it from him? So everybody, put your hands together for the one, the only, the indisputably Owen King.
Yay! Hey! There he is. I'm not worthy. Wow.
No, you're worthy.
We like to make everybody feel really welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's nice to be here.
Absolutely. You know, Steve, it's just good that we didn't have any of those technical difficulties like last time. Remember? You know. You jerk.
I know.
It's so good to have you back. Glad to have you back.
Burgers.
It's really good to see you again. It's been a while. It's good to see you.
Nice to see you too, MJ.
And the thing that I loved is that I posted, because I didn't want to just put the event up, so I was posting every image I had of us with Owen. And I love, like, again, and I'm doing this all in blue sky because I'm subtly still maintaining some consistency there.
Yeah. We spent tens of minutes together, Owen.
Indeed.
He's got to document that.
Yeah. And it's just funny because, like, the photo I have of all of us with Owen after the interview we got to do with him, it's just that, and then there's MJ, there's Gambit. So it's just, you know, it's just a bunch of people and a Cajun.
I was dying. Oh my God. It looked great, but when I tell you, I was so miserable in that thing, but it looked so good, and I put so much work into it. I'm like, why did I put so much work into myself?
You definitely, no, you did, but that, and then
that was a great picture.
It was wonderful. I mean, again, Owen, thank you again.
Sure,
right.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I mean, you know, it's funny because, like, last year we just did this big thing of anytime somebody was coming by, we were like, everybody get together, get a photo. Like, we got to remember this. Memories are precious. And then Facebook's like, oh, do you remember this? And I'm like, yes, I do. I took that photo. Right. It's great times. So thank you for ending, you know, thank you for contributing to our scrapbook. We appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. When I look at the photos of Terrificon, I just remember how many steps I got. Because I don't know, if viewers that have not been there, it's at the casino in Connecticut, and the distance from, like, your rooms to the convention area is extensive, and then the convention area itself is extensive, and so I mean, I racked up steps like you wouldn't believe. And the thought that I had, the recurring nightmare I had was, like, what if I had gotten there and my Fitbit had not been charged?
I would
have gotten no credit for any of those steps.
No, you were a trooper. I mean, it's funny, Steve. I was rewatching the interview we did, which again, amazing. And it was like, oh yeah, you did the black and the red. What are you doing? I was like, I'm plaiting it. just gonna end up just showing up. Yeah, and I was just, it was wonderful. And again, like Owen, when I got my own copy.
That's why we call you Spaceball 1, because you went to Plaid.
It was ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous.
It was.
You know, but Owen, like again, I had read your book, The Curator, thanks to the wonderful Tarrytown Public Library, and it was awesome. And just to have my own copy, you know, was great. And then of course I hadn't read Self-Help, and I read it, and I remember the first thing I said when reading is, I was like, why isn't this on Netflix? This would be an amazing series. Like, do you guys mind if we start with Self-Help and we just kind of
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny you should say that, because the original, I was working in a writer's room. Jesse and I had been friends since the early 2000s. Jesse Kellerman, who co-wrote Self-Help with me.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to live in the city, and we got to be good friends, and he moved away to California. And I you know, we still talk all the time, but I actually haven't seen him in person in, gosh, close to 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, I was working in this writer's room, and we were talking on the phone, and we were just trying to come up with some excuse to hang out. And it's like, well, we should write something together. And I got to talking to him about, you know, I'd never been away from home for so long for work, and how I loved living in California and Los Angeles, but I was also, you know, felt kind of estranged from the natural world, because I was living at the Universal Studios hotel by the City Walk, which if you, anybody who's you know, in the chat, or any of you guys have ever been there, it's like a theme park. And so, you know, I'd take the elevator up and down every day, and there's like a large mural of, you know, Vin Diesel, I think it was, like jumping out of a explosion in the elevator. So I'd see Vin like twice a day, up and down, and then, you know, go to work and come back. And you know, there were a lot of things about Los Angeles that were so odd to me, and the one that really, really struck me hard was the way that, you know, there were so many wildfires, and but it's just like a normal part of life, you know. But you'd be driving on the 405, and there'd be like these little fires on the hills, and everybody's just driving along, and it felt really surreal to me, you know. I mean, it was all under control, but it felt very surreal. And I was talking to Jesse about that, and about the Vin Diesel elevators, and how I would go to like Margaritaville to eat lunch.
What's
like
a
every
Vin
day.
Diesel elevator?
The elevators in the Universal Studio Hotel, like it was like, they're like murals, like painted murals on the inside of the elevators. And so like one would have like Schwarzenegger, and another one had like Vin Diesel jumping out of like a fireball or something.
Oh man.
And so it's like a lot. My hotel room window had like this minion. He was off in the distance, and he was enormous. I think it was Kevin, and he's two-dimensional, and you know, he sort of floated in the window of my hotel room, sort of. And at times you don't know if he's entirely a benevolent figure, but he was always there looking. And so it was a weird life. And I talked to Jesse about that, and then I can't remember exactly how we spun it off, but we started talking about the sort of collision between people with enormous resources and people with very few resources in Los Angeles, and the way these things are bumping up against each other, and how that was kind of a classic noir conflict. Right. And somehow or other, we came up with this idea about an Uber driver. That's not what he's called in the story, he's something else, but essentially he's an Uber driver who's essentially the spitting image of this very aggressive and successful self-help author and guru and personality, and how the one character's life is already difficult because he can't get anywhere. He's impoverished. He's isolated from his family. And the cherry on top of the shit sundae is that he looks just like this guy who's very obnoxious and very successful and beloved by people that are also very obnoxious. And he has to deal with it all day long. And, the turn of the story in the first issue, it's not too much of a spoiler, is that the two men meet and the one guy ends up stealing the other guy's life, and then has to try to survive inside that life. And so Jesse and I, we originally talked about it as a TV show, and I said to him, I think this would make a cool comic, and then we would have something, because I've done a lot of script work that didn't end up getting made, and it's nice to have something. And it felt very it felt like the medium fit, the pulpy qualities of the story fit with comic books, and there's not tons and tons of crime comic books, and I liked the idea of doing one and kind of sitting inside a niche that wasn't too crowded, and so that's how we got going on it.
Oh, it's great.
Nice.
I love how you have it set up so that they're basically aren't the only redeemable character in that book that I've come across is his daughter Amelia, but you have Jerry and Darren are both total con men, and only one of them has served it. And it's great how you have them, like, one taking the other one's life and people not really. His assistant doesn't give a shit. Cassandra's just like, oh, you took him out? You're going to come with me now, and we're going to fix this because I'm getting paid no matter. So it's like she doesn't even care that her boss is gone and whatever the hell he did with him. No shit's given at all. And
she's 100% my favorite. Like 100%.
Yeah. So I adore. I mean, was it intentional to have everybody kind of be a piece of shit in the comic?
Well, I mean, yeah, the idea is kind of like that they all are liars or grifters to some extent, but the idea is in a lot of in the same way that something like Breaking Bad kind of seduces you into rooting for Walt, even though he's a pretty bad person. He's just less bad than most of the people that he's dealing with. Although it's arguable, to be sure, he does some unbelievably horrible things. The idea is to present these characters who are pretty deeply flawed, and then demonstrate that they all have something they want. And so, in most cases, we can root for them a little bit. And I think even in the second part of the story, which hasn't been published yet, part of what that does is hopefully make the audience reassess the Darren character. And so, and think about, he's still a bad guy, but there's some other stuff at work. I don't want to spoil it, but that's kind of one of the things that we tried to do in the next part of it, because he's the one character who kind of gets left behind because there's somebody else pretending to be him.
And the thing that I also love is that you guys move everything down so nicely, but then it's also serious and everything is really moving so well. But because it's so serious, when moments are just funny, like it's like, oh my God, that's hilarious. And I know, especially, like, comedy is hard to write. And I think sometimes the best comedy are exactly that, when you're not trying to be funny. It's just a serious, like, the one moment I'm still chuckling about, I think it was one of the, let's say, nefarious characters has a particular animal that they use as a threatening tool, and something happens to one of the servants, and they're like, no, it's okay. He put too much chlorine in the pool. Like, it's just
right.
Like, yeah, and I'm just
people.
like,
that was funny. Yeah, I like that.
I'm just chuckling. I was like, this is the equivalent of, Well, he burned the croissant, so I mean, yeah,
It
right.
He pierced the toast.
It pierced the toast. But
I
how,
was
like, when you're writing something, does that ever come across to you like, oh, that's funny, or is it just again straight, complete, and it's just if it happens to be funny, like, okay, yeah, I'll take credit for that.
No, I mean, we're always looking for the joke for sure. And I think that it fits with the kind of the concept is so high,
right?
You know what I mean? Like it's a pretty, it's not natural, and so that gives you license to kind of make it a little bit, to make the characters a little bigger and to make their talk a little bit bigger.
Sure.
And I also think it kind of fits with the, it's supposed to be kind of a classic California noir, and that's kind of, you think of things like The Long Goodbye. That's like the real touchstone for us, is the Elliot Gould Long Goodbye.
Right.
And the way that the Altman film, the way that the characters chatter at each other, and it just sort of never stops. And that's kind of what we were trying to go for. But also, I remember when I years ago I edited this anthology of superhero stories called coedited with my friend John McNally. It's called Who Can Save Us Now? And we got a wonderful artist named Chris Burnham to do the. I'm sure you guys know who Chris is, and he did the drawings for each at the front of each story. Did a like a panel, and I met him, and I was talking to him about comic books, and at that time I had never written one, and he was telling me about working with a novelist who had written a comic book, and Chris said, "Oh, the thing about novelists writing comic books is their instinct is not to move the story. It's like tons and tons of script pages of like people staring in the mirror." and I that made such an impression on me that Chris said that, because he was like sad, he was like, and then I just have to draw this guy looking in the mirror or whatever over and over and over again. And so when we were doing Intro and Alien Invasion and then Self-Help, I mean, one of the things that I was always beating the drum on, and Jesse felt the same way, is like all the time, like the action has got to be moving all the time. And so just carrying the dialogue on top of that action seemed fun.
Okay. All right, Steve.
I had a question about the your main big bad villain in this. He's very interesting. I'm wondering how you came to, like, all right, I'm gonna have a gangster, but he's not a typical nationality that gangsters typically are in stories. So you have a Finnish gangster, and you write his accent very phonetically.
Yes.
So I had kind of two questions about him. First of all, like, what was the thought process on this? How did you come to that? And, did you research what a Finnish accent would phonetically sound like, or were you just kind of like winging it?
No, it's great. This was really fun, because I think what when we were outlining the story, they were Russian gangsters. And then I think I said something to Jesse along the lines of, I'm not sure, I feel like there's a lot of Russian gangsters out there in stories these days. And he thought for a second, and he goes, well, they're going to be Finnish gangsters then. And so I think Jesse gets all the credit for the guy being Finnish. And I think part of what he was thinking, and I thought this was very smart, was if we create a category of gangster like the Finnish mafia, essentially, that doesn't exist, or doesn't exist in any kind of popular culture way, we can just be free to make up a fantasy group, essentially. And I thought that was really fun. It really freed us to make the guy as weird as possible, and he's super weird, and he is a pretty broad character, and we actually we have like a little cheat sheet for his accents, so like the vowel sounds that he makes, so like all that hello Darren stuff is all planned out. So like he says certain things, certain vowel sounds a certain way. But then, so the idea was once we had that, we could be free, and he could have his panther and his weird statues of himself naked and all that stuff, but also have this daughter who he's very concerned that her ambitions end at like having an Etsy shop, right? So he was worried that she's not going to be able to take over for him. So once we had that, though, we also were able to kind of, especially in the second part, make him really scary. He gets scarier as the story goes along, and I think that's kind of is really important, because it's like you can play the villain for comedy, but ultimately, if you want to have like these mortal stakes and have the audience be worried, he has to get pretty. He gets pretty scary by the end of the story.
Agreed.
That's really, really great. I mean, like, I think I love it when there's a bad guy who's, you're juxtaposing the tone of what they're saying with the content of what they're saying, or, you're making sure that there's an unspoken threat under it all. I think that makes for a really good gangster, especially, and we see that, to varying degrees and lots of different things. But I thought he was like very, very charming and funny and super fucked up. And I loved the Darren. I love anyway when there's specific. I think there's something so sinister. I don't know why, but I think it always comes off as really sinister and creepy when somebody says somebody's name too many times. Like if I were to go, "Hello, Drew. You look nice today, Drew.
Right.
What did you, Drew?
I'm
what
in
did
trouble.
you have for supper tonight?
I need an adult. I need an adult. I'm in trouble.
Drew,
help.
That's super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Only you can help you, Steve.
Right. So all the Dayrens were great. The only other thing I wanted to ask was the illustrator is Mariana, right?
Mariana Ignazi, yeah, she's
Mariana.
Just a brilliant.
Absolutely.
And just to take an example of what she does with Ove, the Finnish gangster. That's Mariana's one of Cassandra sitting on the car on the left there for a second. She gives him this weird, like, his curly hair is spread on either side of his part, which goes right down the middle. And there's something so sinister about the combination of his very manicured looking hair and his shit-eating grin.
Right.
There he is right there. And then later on he says, out of the box. That's the illustration I always think of. And there is Pipsa, his daughter, who has the Etsy shop. Yep. But Mariana and Fabiana, who did the colors, they're brilliant. And it's one of the things that was blew my mind is Mariana's never been to the States. And we would send her reference photos and things, but thinking of stuff like the scenes in the story, there's parts set in Oxnard, and Jerry and his wife Michelle lives in Oxnard with their daughter Amelia, and all the like interstate stuff and the Oxnard stuff, it feels so lived in. And she did just like a brilliant job capturing that California feel, and Fabiana gets those like California blues that make me think of especially of The Long Goodbye and other sort of late 70s movies set in California with that certain sort of washed out blue color that just love. And No, they're an awesome team. We weren't unfortunately able to. Mariana had to go work on something else for the second series. It's a different artist who's also brilliant, but we were sorry to lose her. The artist on the second series is Antonio Fuso. And so it is kind of a fun transition in that Mariana's art is a little bit funnier, and Antonio's art is a little darker. It's also funny, but so it sets a slightly different mood.
So what I'm
wondering,
what I kept thinking this entire time is if was there a discussion as to what this man should facially look like? Because I think she's cast somebody that I know.
Oh my God!
I'd have to look at the script. We write pretty elaborate scripts, but it's also like, we try to leave a lot of room for her to improvise. Because it's like. I don't get that kind of extremely type A comic scripting where it's like you're trying to like mind draw for the artist. I always feel like, what she's bringing, like her version of what I imagine is always going to be better than what I imagined.
Mm-hmm. So all I can think of
who are you thinking of?
It's Alan Cumming. I mean, it's Alan Cumming all day long. This guy. Look at that.
Wow.
I see a little bit of Alan Cumming in him. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
1,000%.
He's even got the light hair now in that show.
Traitors.
Yeah.
Right.
The show that I've not watched.
Now I can't unsee it.
I think that when I first saw him was in Son of the Mask.
There you go.
Yeah,
the kids are very young.
Yeah. All right. Jar, did you say you had a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, since this plays so much like a TV show anyways, were there any scenes that you guys kind of left out that might have, you're kicking yourself maybe that should have been in there or anything like that got left on the cutting room floor?
No, I mean, there were things that we wanted to do that there wasn't quite space for, but I don't know. I kind of look at comic scripting the same way I do at film scripting, which is like, I'm heavily devoted to this William Goldman. His screenwriting rule was always like, enter the scene as late as possible, So it's sort of like, I always want the story to be like at the back of the scene so we can keep moving. And, so I guess I don't know if I feel like there was a lot that got left on the cutting room floor. There's certainly a bigger world to the story, and I think maybe the stuff about Darren Hart's kind of self-help system, that's probably the thing that we would like to have explored more, because that's the case with most self-help programs is they are a program. There is like a system, and some of those systems work for people. And actually, the successful ones do work for people. It's not always good, but they're successful for a reason. And so I think we would have loved to have gone into that a little bit more and had some fun with how crazy his ideas were and how they worked for people. And there's some of that in the second series, but maybe not quite as much as we would have liked.
How long until the second series drops?
That's a good question. We're working on figuring out some things about putting it out. I think because we want to make sure it gets into as many hands as possible, because we're really proud of the first book and super thrilled with the audience it found, but maybe would like it to find a little more audience. So we're still talking about some different possibilities about how to put the new series out, but it's finished and it will come out for sure.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, it's drawn and everything.
Oh,
that's
awesome.
Cool. That I was always thinking, why writers and stuff like that. Have you ever thought of doing like, you guys probably don't need a Kickstarter or anything like that, but doing it through one of those kind of publishing it yourselves?
Well, our editor Chris Ryle, it was his imprint, which is called Syzygy. It's a really hard word to say. Chris did an amazing. I mean, comic book editors don't get enough credit, and Chris is the best. And he had, so much knowledge to share with us, and improved the book in a million ways, and put the team together.
That's
awesome. And just a master of design. He and Ian, who did the design, they did an incredible job making the comic book look different and fun every time, and I think just figuring out comic books are wild. It's such an independent world. It's such like a hand sale world, and just sort of figuring out the best publication strategy for getting it into shops and hands and stuff. That's tricky to figure out, but we're getting there.
It's even tougher these days now that Diamond no longer exists. Everybody's like through different getting their comics through different areas. But yeah. MJ,
but I mean, one of the cool things about comic books is how personal it is.
Right. Oh yeah.
I don't think I've read comic books since I was a young person. But I'm kind of a shy adult, so I wasn't really familiar with
I think that's all of us.
as familiar with like the community of comic books as in 2026, that the conventions are such a I mean, when I was a kid in Bangor, Maine, there would be a comic book convention in the Civic Center, and it was awesome, but it was also just like, it was just like a bunch of boxes and a bunch of sweaty guys like me. And now comic book conventions are like
big.
They're big, and there's a lot of different stuff going on, and everybody's talking to each other and sharing what they like and what they're interested in, and in that kind of feeling is out in the stores as well. Like comic book stores are not like the people in High Fidelity. The mean record store guys in High Fidelity. Like when I go to the comic book store, my local comic book store, October Country in New Paltz, New York, man, those guys are so nice, and they want to talk to you. They want to talk to you about what they're reading and what they're interested in and stuff. And I think that with self-help, the one thing I wish that we had done more of is kind of like get on the ground. And I had a great experience going to Virginia and to Pennsylvania and going to a couple stores, and I'm forgetting the name of the beautiful store that I went to in Virginia. The one in Pennsylvania is closed now. That was my friend Brian Keene's store. That was great too. What is the place in Virginia called? Eric Jones is the guy that had me in. But anyways, that you get that same kind of contemporary convention feel where people come in and they talk to you and they want to hear how you made the book and what inspired you. And I don't know, there's kind of like this exchange that goes on that's really different than it's a little different than book events. Maybe book events because you're like reading and there's an audience and it's a little more formal maybe. But anyways, I didn't, even though I go to my local store all the time, I don't know if I kind of quite comprehended that part of the community, and I dig it, but I wasn't quite familiar.
Right.
I super dig it, actually.
Nice. All right. MJ, you said you had a question?
So once again, it's good to see you again outside of,
Hi, MJ.
Not Gambit. But no, I was actually wondering, was there a particular favorite bit that you're writing of? Oh, this is gonna be great when writing self-help. Like, so this is gonna be great. Like, got really excited and was really worked up, excited to write it.
I knew it was gonna be cool when there's a few things. I was just excited throughout. There's like a feeling you get when you're having fun writing a story and it's clicking, and I also working with Jesse, the way we did the second 5 issues is a little different the way that we did the first 5, but the first 5, usually I would write like 7 pages and he'd write 7 or 8 or something like that, and then I'd write 8 or 7 or whatever, and so the issues had kind of like a structure to them that was based on it being 50-50 and us having more interest in certain parts of it respectively. And so he would write something and I'd be like, man, he really set the bar high. I've got to like
I gotta step up.
He amused me so much. I've got to amuse him as much.
Right.
And that it's not like a competitive thing. It's like I want to make him laugh. I want to make Jesse delighted.
Absolutely.
And anyways, I remember when and I don't remember who wrote it, but we knew what was going to happen because we outlined it. But there's a moment at the end of the first issue that I was really excited about that has to do with Jerry taking Darren's identity and the sort of sequence of his thought-making process and the way that the issue just stops, and puts you in a different place than when you began, and hopefully surprises the audience, I think. And then as the story goes along, every time I was always excited anytime there was a reveal about someone not really being who you thought they were.
Yeah.
Right. So everybody has a secret. Everybody is a little like a lot less ethically sound than you expected when you first met them. Yeah. So there were a lot of things. There were a lot of things like that. Yeah, it was just a really fun. It's fun. It's fun to work with your really good friend who's this super talented guy who makes you laugh all the time. It was such a pleasure. It was so fun.
Nice.
Sounds like it went by too fast.
Yeah, it always does.
Yeah, one thing that was different in the second, and I got to say, Jesse Kellerman's books are awesome. If you guys are fans of crime novels, he's an Edgar nominated novelist. He's just a brilliant writer and a brilliant guy. In the second one, the final issue, we actually wrote the last, I want to say 6 or 7 pages together, like over Zoom, which is something usually we would outline them and then go back to our respective corners and piece it together and then do the rewriting together. But that was super fun. And I've never done that. I've collaborated with a lot of people, but I've never collaborated like live because I never thought I could do it, having the other person looking at me or just waiting while I thought. But it was a blast, So hopefully we get to do something like that again.
Nice. All right, Kari, you said that we had some stuff before we move to the next one?
Yeah. Just wanted to pull up one question that we had towards the beginning, and I'm sorry I kind of put it up and then we were going, but LaRousse just wanted to let you know that they love Double Feature and it was very much in the spirit of the world according to Garp. So
that's so nice of you, Lou Rose. That's an incredibly flattering, a very flattering thing to say. And I still, I think anytime my experience of writing books is that as soon as they come out, I think about all the things I wish I could have changed. And, actually, self-help's pretty sound in my mind. I don't know if there's a whole lot I would change about that one, but I I think it's very natural, and it kind of drives you crazy. But I'm super proud of that book, even though there's one or two things as soon as it came out, I thought to myself, I wish I'd done that a little differently. And now, and I think this happens, I bet most writers say this, now it's like I open the book up and I'm like, this is so fun. I don't remember doing any of this, you know? And I'm sort of, because you stop being the person that did it. You know, it's the most important thing in your life for like, I mean, that one took me like 6 years. It was like the most important thing and it meant everything to me. And it still means a lot to me, but the person that wrote it, I finished the book and he started fading away. And now I kind of can't figure out how I did certain things because the mindset's so different. And I think it just happens. And it's probably like a self-defense mechanism almost, because it's like you got to forget that you were so obsessed with and that book's about movies and filmmaking, and I was like just like wearing out the Criterion editions of all these movies and reading all these books about movies, and I think I just had to like let my part of my brain that had all that stuff die so I could write the next thing. And I think that it just happens. It's a little sad because it was so big, but you gotta keep moving like a shark.
Indeed.
You gotta keep swimming.
It's a new saying we're gonna start using. Just keep swimming.
Kari, was there any others, or was that the only one?
No, that was all I wanted to throw up there. Just want to make sure we got it covered.
Double feature.
Well, it was so nice, so nice.
Yeah,
double feature is great.
The next one I want to bring up is I absolutely need to bring up Intro to Alien Invasion. This I
do the intro. Do the intro.
Beware blue ladybugs. They are not what you think they are. And watch when they get in your food. Do not drink anyone's beer besides your own. And whatever you do, don't smuggle international soil.
These are good. Like, this is good advice regardless, really.
Yeah. And
no matter what color the ladybug is, do not ingest it, folks. Okay?
And
don't do it.
I feel like these are Magua rules.
Yeah, and no matter what, remember Mr. Mayo and full retail.
Full retail.
Full retail, yeah. That's
full
right.
retail.
I paid full retail for this.
But okay, Kari, Kari, I have to bring up the thing we talked about because I think he's going to get a real laugh out of that. So when me and Kari were talking about it after reading this, and she just brought up, she's like, did like the art kind of remind you of Nickelodeon's Doug a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
And I was
my God.
And I was kind of like, you know what? A little bit.
Yeah.
But we're like, yeah, but he never went to college. And I'm like, this is what Judy was doing during the college years.
It's like Doug meets Disney's Recess or something.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes.
Somewhere
with an alien invasion. That is not a simple matter.
It's
but
Disney's, Recess meets Doug meets Slither. That's this book.
There you go.
There's the elevator pitch, Steve. Nicely done.
It's already made. He doesn't need it, Drew.
He doesn't need it, yeah. But if I can say, Owen, if there was the one scene that absolutely got me, it was when I think it's like mid-book, and everybody's in the stall, and I think it's the two workers are like, "Oh, look at this Noah's Ark. There's like two of everybody."
Right. Yeah.
The fact that you're here's the theater kids, the goths, everything, and then it was like, here's the M&Ms. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Stop. Like, I'm dying. I'm like dying.
No, what you said was get out. You said to an empty room. You told the empty room to get out.
It just wasn't somewhere. It's just the whole thing, and it was just so goofy. But I was just reading this, and I was like, this is literally how it would happen on a college campus. Just idiocracy around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's really sweet and genuine in parts when it needs to be. and it's funny when it needs
totally
to be
ludicrous in other parts.
Yeah.
And there are like, I mean, it's, even though it's a parody of a jump scare, you got some jump scares.
Yeah.
Like we understand
Yeah.
it's a comedy, but like you structured it like it's a real horror. Like it's not a horror book necessarily, but there's plenty of horrific scenes that would play like horror if it wasn't in a comedy, and they're depicted the way you would film them.
Yeah.
In a film.
Steve Van Sampson, everybody, saying exactly what's in our mind since he's been on the Dorkening. Nicely done, bud.
Thank you, Drew Mollo.
You're welcome.
I'm just gonna call you Drew, Mr. Mayo from now on.
Please don't. Please don't. Not about sauce.
I actually really dug. Can I just say this? I dug the like little bit of the guy looking on the shelf, and he has like a dotted line word blurb, so it's like he's like being quiet, and he's like, "Why would somebody take that much mayo?"
Yeah,
and then like you don't know what it is. You don't know that joke doesn't pay off there, and you're like, okay. And then later there's the whole thing, and it's really funny. So.
Yeah, that was, oh my god, it was so good.
Sorry, I wrote it in Sharpie. I was just like,
sorry, I probably shouldn't have written it in Sharpie. Yeah.
It was so, but the other thing I loved, I have to bring up, is the little Easter eggs. Like I didn't realize it until I read it like a second time, and I'm like, oh, like little things. But the one that was killing me was that there was a shout out to Kari subtly because I was like, wait a second,
not Kari Sanders, folks.
Yeah, not Kari not the squirrel wrangler over there. No. Sorry,
different Kari.
Yeah, but like the second I saw that, and then she just looked up, I was just like the equation, and I'm like, what the hell? And then later on, I was like, oh wow, that came full circle there. Like, you can't fuck with math, kids. Like, so don't be a bro throwing water balloons filled with
Jello, was it?
I don't know. It was either like meat or urine. Or, it was bad.
It was something.
Don't do it.
It was gross. Is what it was.
I'd had this bookmarked, but I couldn't find it.
Now,
so
can you tell that the bros are my co-writer Mark and I?
Oh my god, no!
Yeah, Stacy made us the bros. I mean, not Stacy. Funny. Nancy made us Stacy's the main character. Nancy, our artist, made us the bros, and I love her artwork. There's so much humor in every expression.
Absolutely.
And she did a brilliant job, and I don't know, this was a super fun one to do. Mark Jude Poirier, my co-writer, great writer. I actually met him. He was gonna option one of my stories for a screenwriting project, and we became friends. And I just remember being on this. We were coming back from something, and I can't even remember what it was. I was trying to think today what it was, and we were chatting on the subway, and just started pitching ideas, and we ended up coming up with this one.
Right.
And had a great time sort of satirizing college life and fitting in alien invasion into it.
A lot of ball jokes.
Yeah, I mean it was we kind of threw everything but the kitchen sink in there. And I think it's it is kind of I hope it also works as like an exciting story. I'm glad that you said that, Stephen, that was the idea.
Yeah, it's I want to say filmed, but of course that's not correct. But it's drawn in a way that it feels very cinematic. So where you guys were saying that, you thought that self-help, let's see it on Netflix. Look, I would watch the shit out of that. Self-help is amazing. But this is the one that I kept having that thought. I'm like, this is just fun as hell. Right. And it's just drawn so cinematic. All these different angles, you could just literally use all of her panels as like a storyboard, and just literally just film it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of there's a lot of alien dicks in this. So
many.
Let's just get that out of the way.
There are so many. Randomly just, oh, hey there. I'm like, oh,
when it first appeared, I wasn't sure what I was seeing. I'm like, what is happening here? And then later I just felt very dumb. I'm like, wow.
I thought they were swords. And now that Steve said it, I'm like, yeah, they kind of were, though, in a way.
Yeah, they're blades. I mean, they'll shank you.
Right.
They don't ask permission. These are rude aliens. These are rude, rapey aliens.
Yeah, the aliens are pretty mindless.
Yep.
They have the one thought, the last thought that the person had.
Oh yes,
through
that's
their head.
right. It's the last. Again, it's one of those things that I guess that was maybe back in like
forgot about that
2016 or something like that that book came out, and I did reread it a couple years ago and had a really good time, but I'm always afraid that as you started talking about it, I was like racking my brains for like the names of the characters, and I think I can remember most of them. But yeah, it's a distant one now, but I still it's pretty funny.
Well, it's like you said. It's like you said. You know, when you stop working on a project, your mind stops fixating on all the billion details that you were holding on to, and you had, you know, all these like, you know, these note cards up in your brain and all these things that are just like 100% you've got everything figured out at the time because you're in that shit. And then later you just your brain just lets go and you sort of have this like relief sigh and you're like, okay, it's okay to not worry about this anymore.
Is it all right if I ask you guys a question about about your comic book reading?
Sure.
One thing that when I was a kid, I would read like 8 comic books continuously. And my brain was so flexible that it could do that. And I could follow 8 different storylines. And one of the reasons I tend to read, I read, for instance, the comic book Lucky Devils I read right now.
Nice.
And what is the other one? And I was reading The Goon, and I was reading the most recent Plastic Man story, which was really blew me away. That was my favorite. But I love all those, and I was reading them continuously. But that's about max that I can do. Otherwise, I have to go read. I have to wait and read the graphic novel so that I have the whole thing because because I can't track the storylines, and so if there's too many. And so the question I have for you guys is how do you keep up, or do you try to read, 10 different things simultaneously? And how do you do? What's your plan?
Kari reads everything, and
Kari reads everything. So for us, I guys, I think I might be able to answer this. There are 4 things we do. One, we have a Kari who reads everything. She's basically like, in DC terms, that's Brainiac. Absorbs all knowledge, conqueror of worlds. Then we have a Drew who somehow retains these questions. So when at 3 a.m, hey Drew, what's the name of that? Oh, it's this. So basically, I'm the Mark Grunenwald of the group. I'm the janitor. I will know the details, and they'll be like, "How do you know that?" I said, "I don't know. I am very much." Then we have Jeremy, who is just like, "Oh, cool. That's nice. All right." He knows things.
I don't retain stuff very well.
Yeah,
I'm more like you, where I have to read one thing and suck it all in.
He retains it, and then the second the show's over, it's like that scene in Dreamcatcher where they just put it all in the fire and
it's
gone. Gone. And then MJ is just excited to be here. This is really nice, But she reads things too.
Wow, rude.
No. All right, MJ, I just lost track, and I was like, I didn't want to leave you out, so I just went with the basic. I'm sorry, but you retain a lot too, and because if it's X-Men, you're like, I'm sorry, what?
No, X-Men. See, that's the funny thing. Most people, when I was growing up, it was always like DC or Marvel. I'm like, all of them. Give me all of them. And they're like, at one point I was wearing 6. I was literally, when I was younger, I read 6 storylines, different ones at the same time. X-Force, X-Men, and so several DC titles. I was able to I've always been
Explain.
able to do that. Yeah, I was able to explain it, retain it. I'm actually a microbiologist. So
Uh-huh.
so
So
like I
you
retain bam, 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 bam all at once. You know?
that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing.
So
Because
I've always been, and I was a chef before this. I was a chef for 23 years. So I ran kitchens. So I'm precise to the point. Like give me the shorthand, just
Wow.
All right, MJ,
I've
I'll
always
leave
been able
now
to.
because my joke
I've always
definitely feels very flat. So I'm going to leave now.
I was it's
Hi, Drew.
because I was a kid, that's some I've always that sort of brain that I've
Uh-huh.
always been able to do. And then it just served me well. Like, my dad's like, you need to be like a chef or running something because you'll drive me crazy.
Yeah.
So on you, Dad.
so when you go to the comic book store, you're able to like say, okay, I'm gonna get like 6 different issues, and
They
I'll
know
be
me.
able
No,
to
I
like.
walk in.
You don't have to go back and like check what happened in the previous. You're good to go. That's
Pretty
awesome.
much. Well, I think what it is, it always depends on the thing because there are older
Yeah.
stories, like reading things out of sequence, depending on how it's written, it's tough. Like, I mean, back in the day, like old X-Men storylines, it was like, oh, you got to pay attention to this. And if you missed it, you're like, wow, I've missed critical information. Like,
Right.
Magneto did what to Wolverine? Like, whoa. These days it's a little easier. It just depends because I think in some ways comic storytelling is kind of condensed, but I just feel like it's like condensed and it's expanded, but I think it's a lot easier now to kind of choose.
It's like the universe.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. You can choose really more of, okay, this is for me and this isn't. But you can kind of like, okay, like this is my bag and then I'm kind of feeling this. I'm going to see where it goes. Or nope, not for me.
So like if you're reading, I don't know, say you're reading like the new X-Men and some character pops up and you're like, this guy did something like 5 issues ago. Do you like go get the issue out, or do you get on Google and be like, what did this guy do?
I'm reading Masters of the Universe sort of flaws right now. I had to go back an issue and reread just one issue. I was like completely lost on the 3rd issue just came out, and I'm like, I have to go back to 2 and reread this because I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Fisto has a daughter now? What?
I feel like it depends on like if I'm like if I see a character, it'll trigger something. I'm like, oh right, he did do that. I may not have to read the entire issue.
Right.
Just go back and do it. I've always done that. I never had to study in school, so I was just skimming through. I'm like, okay, bam, that's what he did. Point, and then I'm able to do that. But I'm not going to read the whole thing for one part.
Right. And I think it also doesn't help that there's just, especially depending on the story, a lot of characters have so much continuity, and continuity is just constantly revamped, reimagined, and whatnot. It's a little intimidating. Like even your greats are like 30 years old. Like I mean, I remember when the first issue of Spawn came out, and now we're on like issue 400. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, I feel right old. Someone told me about the Legend of Zelda being 40 years old, and I'm like, I feel old.
My arm.
The 80s was 20 years ago, right, guys?
Is Spawn really up to 400?
Yeah,
it's like,
pretty close.
Yeah.
I bought the last issue I bought was actually 300, so it's close to 400 now.
I'm a jar. I do the milestones. I gave it 250 give it 300 issues. I was like, I'm good. I invested. I've watched the rise and fall. I'm good.
Several times, in fact.
Yeah, pun intended. But
if I could add just like a slightly different perspective,
go for it.
It's. I think I am the odd man out with this group as far as that kind of stuff goes, Owen. Like what you're asking. Like for me, like I like things to be finite. And I cherish a lot of times. I cherish like even not just comic books, but like shows. I was just having this conversation. I don't know if anybody saw the Hap and Leonard show, the Joe R. Lansdale show that was on a few years ago. It only got 3 seasons, and Joe was talking. He just posted the other day about it, and he's like, this one time I was, talking to James Purefoy, and he played one of the 2 leads in the show, along with Michael K. Williams, who is the best casting choice of all time. Period.
Great actor, yeah.
But rest in peace. But he said, it's such a bummer we didn't get to season 4, and James Purefoy was like, no, you can't look at it that way. You got to just be happy that we got to 3. And I'm like, as much as I wanted more, because there's so many more books they could have adapted, it's like those 3 seasons are so precious and so special that I love them so much that I'm going to rewatch them. So I think that there's this, I've talked about this on my show and with friends and stuff, and I'm a big believer in rereading and rewatching just anything. So for me, I don't really want like 200 issues of 3 different books or 4 different books or something. I like it when there's a solid graphic novel that I can pick up and then reread it. And like when we were younger, we didn't have streaming. We didn't have all these infinite choices, decision paralysis, whatever. There's so many things that are vying for our very precious time that it almost feels like, no, I can't watch this a second time. I got to watch something new. I'm so behind. I haven't seen the new season of The Boys and Fallout and, all these other 10 shows. But I think it's kind of what I've been doing this past year is kind of rewatching some of the shows that were like limited series that I really enjoyed. And I think that works for comics too. I went back and watched a couple of the Marvel shows that I had only seen one time through. And, that second time things start to be reinforced, and these little things, these details, you're like, you're forgetting the character. Maybe eventually this is going to be as, in your brain as all those things you grew up with and you watched 1,000 times. But we just don't do that anymore as adults. We don't have the time, and there's too many things out there. So I don't know. I kind of like it when things are long story short. I like it when things are finite. And like for me personally, if something like Self-Help gets that second volume, and if it's done, I'm not going to be the person that says, oh, I wish you would do 10 more volumes. I'm going to just be like, okay, this is the scope of the story, this particular story. And I've actually heard your brother Joe talk about how he likes shorter format, that his favorite is shorter format stuff, just short stories, just like this is a full, complete thing that you can digest in, an evening or something like that. I love that. So I don't know. I know everybody else is a little, you guys really do read so much, and it's very impressive. And truly, Kari is the queen of all media. I mean, she's just absolutely reads like no one I have ever met in my life other than my mom back in the day. Absolutely just, hats off to Kari. Nobody can keep up with her.
A true story.
Oh.
And she remembers everything she reads. Like every little, I mean, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
I'm with you though on rereading, because for example, the Discworld series, I have reread every book in that series at least 20 times. And
wow.
Yeah, but I will forget, but I have the quotes. Yeah. And I have all 40 issues or whatever, or 40 books, but I'll remember a quote though. And then that's the problem, is like, which book was that in? I'll try to have to hunt down and stuff, because I won't.
Was it the witch book?
Was it one of the witches? Yeah, or
was it the Reaper?
Because a couple. Yeah,
which one?
Like, what one is One Man Bucket in? I need to find One Man Bucket.
Wow.
Anybody? No?
Yeah, I mean that's where I googled.
Get out.
Got nothing.
But when it comes to movies too, like I prefer to read, because reading goes at my pace. Movies, you sit there, you're watching a show, it's like, oh my God, I have to dedicate so much time to getting through this, when I could read the entire series if it was written like 4 times over in that period of time. But then at the same time, I watch The Exorcist 3 is my favorite movie.
I knew it
ever.
I knew it.
And I joke, because there's a line in the the movie, I've seen it, they're talking about It's a Wonderful Life, and I've seen this movie 39 times, and So I would say that I've seen The Exorcist
Be
39 times, and that's like it's actually I've seen it far more than that. We're like in the triple
I'm like,
digits
that's
now.
really specific.
And it keeps getting funnier
No.
every single time I see it.
Well, no, but I do catch new little things every now. Like, you know, on like my 27th view of it, I was like watching the intro, and it was like, oh, I hadn't noticed the second priest running across the street during this very specific part of the opening titles. You know, but but I do when I read, I sit down and I can like the one example I use a lot is to catch up with these guys on I hadn't read any Injustice, and to catch up with them on something, I read the entire Injustice series, which is like 172 issues over a 3-day period of time. And
see, Inhuman, Owen.
For real.
That's that's a ripping through some issues. That's a lot
amazing.
of issues.
Never mind, only the first run was any good.
That's
but
not true.
I mean that's the kind of reading that I
come
do.
on. The first volume was good, but the rest was like
the second. Well, guys, we're interrupting Kari. She's got to finish her read. Go, Kari.
Oh, yeah, no, I am a binge reader, and I am a rereader, but I also I do love. But when I'm reading, like you're saying, if you're reading like 15 different titles at a time, I will sometimes go back and read the issue prior to it just to make sure that I'm caught up and I'm set in the right thing, because it's like, okay, reading Infernal Hulk, I'm going to read issue 15, and it's been a while, you know, it's been 2 weeks, and I've read 40 other comics in between this. I want to make sure that I'm at the right story point, that I'm not forgetting anything.
And Kari, if I can piggyback on that for a second, I think sometimes it's also about how you look at the reading, because sometimes like people are like, oh, I read for fun, and I'm like, that's cool. We sometimes, and it's true, like we all read books for fun, like, you know, we love fun. If it's MJ, it's got Etrigan in it. If it's Kari, it's got, you know, I don't know, something.
It would be Constantine with mine. Constantine.
Okay, well, you know what? I went with the yellow guy because I know you're a fan.
I love Etrigan.
Oh God, he's my
Etrigan's awesome.
God, yes.
Yeah. So
you know,
but the point being is that you all have those preferences, and I completely lost my train of thought. Oh my God, I hate all of you. I got distracted by it.
Sorry,
Etrigan.
No.
Gone.
Oh, I got it. Okay, it's back. I got it.
Okay.
I boomeranged it. I'm gone.
All right, it works.
So, we kind of sometimes read like it's research. You know, like we're reading because we enjoy, but we're also doing it because we want to ask you, the creators, questions instead of. So, what do you write? What do you write books? What's that like? You know,
you gotta be ready.
You know, exactly. So I think, like, again, you want to do that. It's the same thing. Like I occasionally am asked to do a panel, and it's terrifying. So literally, I'm like, oh, what's this person working on? I'm going to start at the beginning and work my way up, and I'm going to make notes and everything. Like I'm approaching it like I'm writing a paper. So I'm doing research.
I'm a prepper too, 1000%.
Yeah. So I think it's always about your approach, your interest, and then it's like anything, whether it's a movie, a book, everything. It's all the love. You know, you love the characters, you love the script, you love the character. That's what drives you, and the love. Depending on how long the character's been out, the love goes through waves.
That's why I prefer personally the shorter form telling, because you know that Darren exists exactly in 10 issues, and that's Darren. It's not what. But to put a button on the rereading thing and to tie it back into Owen, I think that the example that I gave with the guy going, who the hell would steal this much mayo? That little missable little one blurb thing in this one panel.
Right.
Now, I did retain it as I read, and then I laughed at the joke where I was supposed to. But certainly you could have missed that. Like that.
If it was if it was separate issues, you probably wouldn't have gotten it, right?
Probably wouldn't have got. But rereading it, the mayo is really driven home later. So maybe rereading it, you'd be like, oh my God, they stole the mayo from the cafeteria here, and the guy's like looking for it. And then that becomes like the funniest shit ever.
Right.
So that is a thing, like rereading, rewatching, and then finding new stuff. I have seen the old Star Wars movies 1,000 times each. I still Every freaking time I watch one of those 3 original movies, I see something I didn't see before. I don't know how it's possible, but
that's me with the Star Trek. That is like, you got comfort shows. You put them on and you hear it.
Yeah.
I
mean,
Star
Steve, that's
Trek is 1000% one of
yeah.
mine.
And Steve and MJ,
yeah.
that's the same thing with me and Ghostbusters. How many times have I watched that in my life? And
literally all half our
rewatching it every time, and I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that. Like,
yeah, that's another good one. It's really packed. It's those
really
passion
is.
projects that are like they're made and they allow especially movies when they allow the actors to ad lib and make little moments. And
like,
Ghostbusters is like a perfect example of that.
Exactly. And you just reminded me, like, I remember, what it gets Owen's inspiration from one of the bros. Like, the bro is lamenting about his bro. He's like, yeah, your bro got turned into an egg sack. My bro got turned into an egg sack. I'm just like, he's
my
so
awesome bro.
sad. And in sincerity, he doesn't understand that his bro is now a vessel for alien sports.
Doesn't like it.
But he's just like, but bro, I'm like, I
can't.
I was like, this is your level of this is your level of sincerity, bro. I'm done. It's like,
what did you read when you were younger? When you were starting to read, like, what kind of comics were you into back in the day?
I read a lot of Peter David comic books. It's a big hero of mine.
He did Hulk, right? He's a Hulk guy.
Yep.
Yeah, Hulk, and he did. I think he did a little bit of Spider-Man. He did Aquaman.
He did.
Peter. So I loved his stuff. He was a great guy.
Yes.
Watchmen was huge. We had the separate issues.
Yeah. I have all those.
That made a massive impression on me. What else? The Chris Claremont X-Men.
Sure.
Were something. Sort of dating myself.
No, you're fine.
The Frank Miller Daredevils. I mean, a lot of those comic books were just a tiny bit before me, but my brother had gotten them, or he and I went and got the back issues to read them.
Yeah,
right.
It was kind of a time when there weren't as many graphic novels, so you would go and dig up the back issues. Yeah, so those were big ones.
And bringing up the old comic stores, I think that's one of the things I still love, finding those hole in the wall stores, and you just go and you find those gems. Like, I remember, what was it? I was at St. Mark's, and my friends were just chilling after dinner for a friend's birthday, and this guy's like, oh, I would, because again, I'm in a store, and naturally everyone here knows I'm very loud, even when I don't want to be. I'm loud. So I was talking about, shut up, Kari. I'm a huge Hellboy fan, and I was like, oh, I love Mike Mignola and thing. And the guy overhears me, and so I was like, oh, you're a big Mignola fan, and he pulls out this book, and it's not in the greatest quality. It's a little worn, but it's fine. But it's the Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange crossover that Roger Stern did with an early Michael Mignola. Again, Michael Mignola, everybody, not Mike.
Yeah.
He wasn't there yet. And he's like, oh yeah, and then he's like, oh yeah, it was like $45, and I'm like, sold. And I, like, later on, I got to meet Roger Stern, and I actually got to meet Mike Mignola, and I had them both sign it, and then I stupidly loaned it to an ex who never gave it back. So I'm still,
you utter fool.
Every day, Steve, I'm like, it's either
I'm gonna judge you every day now too.
No,
why did I tell that story? I was like, remind me.
No, I literally don't know. I don't know.
Literally, I was like, listen, nickelback me, Steve. Just remind me of how much of an idiot I really am. Okay.
Is this how?
I'm going to. Yes.
Not
now.
Go, Kari.
Oh, look, we had a comment. Wrapping back over.
Nicely done, Kari.
Ali G. I can remember plot, but I forget names in almost a second. I read them. I remember characters' actions, but never the names.
Yeah.
That's I go through and read them.
Jar.
I keep notes.
That's
and
me
I just
too.
I hate man people all the time because I'm real people in real life. I'm just like you're.
It's glasses guy
like 4 or 5 times.
It's glasses guy.
Hey, everybody's a Seinfeld character to me.
Yeah.
By the way, when after you ask, how much regret do you have for asking us that question and then just having the entire Dorkening crew explode
None at
around
all.
you?
None at all. Because I just think it's so interesting because it is
Sorry about
it's
that.
like, it's part of, you want to keep, like up on the new comics, right? But it's an almost impossible task.
Yeah.
And it's sort of
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
how are you, it is, I don't know. It's not like, streaming when the things just hang in your Netflix queue forever, right?
Right.
You have
forget
to
about
either
it.
have the
Yeah.
comic books or write it down, or I don't know. I think it's a super interesting subject. I'm glad we talked about it.
I think what it also is I always make the joke that comic books kind of make everybody a drug dealer, because whenever someone asks, I want to start reading comics, what do you recommend? It's like, welcome to your gateway.
What's your gateway?
Like it was like, I have a form here. Can you fill this out? I need to know your preferences. I need to know what you're feeling. Where are you in terms of a narrative? Have you ever seen any of these movies? And then it's like, are you serious? And I'm like, you don't understand. This is all very important. This is the research here. Because and then you're like, you can't just like, oh yeah, read Batman. I was like, well, which Batman? Well, which Spider-Man?
Yes.
Like, there's so much. And then it's like, and we're not even going to get started on parallel universes, everybody. Like, whoa.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we go.
We had a guest on the other night with Drew and I, and they asked us after the show, like, what would you suggest for like fantasy or horror or something like that comics? And we're like, oh, we'll send you lists. And the two of us like condensed ourselves down to sending this poor person like a 45
45 titles.
You guys are just
and
bad
like
at this.
and some of those are like and I at one point I was just like, you might have noticed this name come up like 4 times, so I quit using them. Just read every single thing they've ever done for these
Right.
5 people and
Yeah.
just consider everything they wrote part of the list. And we're just, it's so bad. And if you're going to read this, then you should read this too. And
Yeah.
yeah, we're
Steve, we need
handing
an
out the
editor.
crack, just like.
I want to tell you guys my my gateway comic, because Drew's gonna love it. The first comic I ever bought, I swear to God, this is real. The 1st comic I ever bought. You ready? You're not gonna believe this.
I'm ready.
Slimer #1.
I'm so proud of you. I knew that we would become
And
good friends.
Justin Cooper owns that copy now today.
Oh my God.
I sent him a bunch of my old like kid comics. It was Slimer #1, and then it was Ninja Turtles for like 5 years. Any Ninja Turtle comic I could get my hands on.
I feel you there.
Yeah, does anyone remember their first? Like, I remember mine, and I still have it. It's absolutely in tatters. It was a 90s Spider-Man comic where, like, around the time Harry Osborn was trying to be the Green Goblin. And I still have it, and it's just it's amazing. I think it's like Sal Buscema was still drawing it, so it looking nice. But I remember that, and then I remember getting my hair cut at my old barber, who unfortunately is no longer with us. And he just had a stack of comics because people waiting, and it was just a bunch of random stuff. But I remember I picked up Spawn 14, and I was like, "This is so freaking rad!" And that's when Todd was still writing and drawing it. And I was like, Medieval Spawn, Violator. And I'm like, well, this is great. I'm going to subtly take this, rolling it in my back pocket. It's like, thanks for the haircut. I brought it back. Like,
oh, and do you remember your first comic ever?
I do.
I don't think that I do. I mean, it was probably like, like maybe like a G.I. Joe with a Mike Zeck cover or something like
awesome.
that.
Yes.
Awesome, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of guessing.
That's awesome.
Or it was like a Classics Illustrated or something from like a used bookstore.
Oh, listen, either way, great. Nice. MJ, what was yours?
Mine was Action Archie comic.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Nice.
my first comic ever. I got my first allowance, and it was with my brother, of course, my big brother. So we went over. And the first comic is like, oh yeah, because it was age of prep. He goes, oh, I think you like this. They're kind of funny characters. I said, yeah, right, kind of weird,
Mm-hmm.
And he's right. And I've been a fan of Dan Parent literally since I was like 6. Okay, or
Nice.
doing Archie comics and all that. That was my first comic. Was
Nice.
one of the Archie comics.
All right. Thank you. So, Jar, Kari, do you want to give yours, and then I guess we'll start. Well, lights are
I don't
dimming.
remember my exact comic. I just know it was in the Fantastic Four back issues. I was a little kid. My brother was going to play D&D at our LCS Music Quest, if it's still open. I don't know. I was sent to the comic floor room, and the shop owner was just like, "Here's a big box of back issues," and I flipped through, saw Fantastic Four, and started reading.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Nice. And Kari, what was yours?
Ghost Rider Volume 3. Danny Ketch was my first Ghost Rider, and I loved Blackout. I loved everything. We've had Howard Mackie on. I loved that man. I got to meet him at my first Terrificon and do an interview with him. So it was awesome. And I now, thanks to Jar, I have an autographed copy of the issue, was it 13 or 15, that had the text glow in the dark cover? I think, because that was like my white whale
15.
for a very long time. I think it's 15 too.
Mhm.
But okay, we have kept you on way over time.
Seriously, yeah, we're
and
good.
We need
we
need to wrap things up.
Your
We're going to
nerd
cover some
cred,
other stuff.
sir.
You got
Your
us to
nerd cred
nerd
is
out.
renewed for another year. You're good.
Thanks. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for everybody watching. Kari, Jeremy, MJ, Drew, Steve, thank you all. So nice to meet you.
Seriously.
Appreciate how nice you were to have me. And
before you go, Kari, can we full screen him?
Yeah.
Do you mind just any conventions you're maybe going to or any events? And then what is the best way that people can interact with you on social media?
I have a Substack that I've been ignoring in 2026, but I'll get back to it. I have a website, which is owen-king.com. I'm on Instagram, Owen King Author. Those are all good ways to find me. I don't have any conventions this year. I'm really buckled down trying to finish a couple things. But if anything comes up, that'll be the place to look.
Cool. Okay. All right. Well, Owen, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, you know how to use StreamYard, so the exit brings it to the upload page. Let it upload to 100, and then you'll be good because we record our audio and video separately. So
Yeah, we're just going to do the quick wrap up. If you need to leave, you can leave, but otherwise it's just hey everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. We had so much fun. If you couldn't tell, it was the dorkening explosion happening here. If you want to find me, go to Kari Sanders on Facebook. All of my stuff is there. If you see a judgmental crow staring at you, that is the right page. And yeah, I write things, I do things. Check them out. Mahana, where do you like to have people reach out to you at?
So easiest way to get a hold of me, literally my Instagram is the Cheery Goth, CheerRry. And don't forget the guys. I've been getting a lot of messages from people saying I can't find you because they never add the. So it's the Cheery Goth. That's on Instagram. And you guys will currently see I'll be starting my work on my Calhoun from Wreck-It Ralph. That's my first my current cosplay project.
Nice.
I'm a Wreck-It.
Awesome. Steve, where we can find you?
You can look up Steve Van Samson on the interweb box machines, and you will find me. I'm in various places. I'm on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I am on Blue Sky, and Threads, technically, I guess. But if you don't know, I do host a podcast called Retro Reductibus. It is on the Dorkening Network. We are in our 8th year, and we love doing it. And we would love if you guys came and checked us out. We have a really awesome Facebook group. And we'd love to have you. So
8 years
come
more.
check us out.
8 years more.
I know. We talk about mainly like nostalgia of all different types. So sometimes comics, and sometimes other stuff.
You're actually one of my favorite channels.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
you're one of our favorite channels too, Jar.
All right. Catch me on all social medias, Blue Sky, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and etc. as Jar Jar Jeremy. And catch me here every Tuesday, sometimes Saturday, sometimes Wednesday, sometimes even Thursday nights with the rest of these guys. Splash pages. And over to you, Drew.
Hey, thanks for joining us at Splash Pages. We really appreciated it. You know what we'd also appreciate? If you hit that like and subscribe button. okay? Because we do a lot of cool things, and we'd like you to join us for this awesome experience. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to follow Owen King on all that social media, and stick with us next week when we have the absolutely awesome and 100% fantastic Jeremy Adams coming on to rock your world. If you need to get in touch with me, you can find me, Drew Mollo, on Facebook and Instagram, Ghostbusterman1984. And I'm also on Blue Sky, too. Might do other things, too, but I'll let you know. Till then, you stay classy now.
Why did it get so sexy in here?
I
don't
know.
What happened?
Man, it's warm.
Is it just me? Like, what happened?
That's what happens when you hang with the king.
I guess.
All
right, guys.
All right.
All right.
Have a good
Thanks,
night,
Owen.
everybody.
Have a good
Night,
night, guys.